In this video, I'll be going through just a handful of problems from Exercise 1, Chapter 7, Section 1. So that's 7.1, Exercise 1. And in this exercise, you'll find the fill-in-the-blank problems. Now, these fill-in-the-blank problems are really nothing more than the warm-up exercises for the real exercise, which takes place in the third part of 7.1, Exercise 3, that is. So again, these are nothing more than warm-up exercises. They're just simply practice for Exercise 3. And since these are really nothing more than practice problems, the only real purpose here is to begin to understand how to use the rules, some of the common patterns, to begin to commit these 4 rules of inference to memory, and really nothing more than that. And so since, again, they're just practice, don't expect to see any questions just like this on the test. Rather, test problems will all be like the setup in Exercise 3, which we haven't yet gotten to. So I'll start here with problem number 1. In problem number 1, Exercise 1, 7.1, we're given a little bit of information to work with. In fact, in this case, we're given 2 premises, G horseshoe F, and then premise 2, not F. Now, we don't have any clue as to what these variables stand for, of course, other than propositions. And for our purposes here, we really don't care. We're just simply dealing with the structure of the argument, not really the content. Further, we're going to assume that each respective premise is true. Now, our task is centered around figuring out the 2 blanks that occur, in this case, in line number 3. In fact, we'll start kind of counterintuitively with the second blank as opposed to the first blank. So one part of the second blank is to figure out what rule we're going to be able to apply to the information that's given to us. Now we've got 4 options at our disposal: modus ponens, modus tollens, HS, and DS. But as the directions indicate here in this first exercise, only one of those 4 rules will in fact be applicable. So our first task is to figure out which of the 4 rules we can actually utilize. And for some of you at the very beginning anyway, it might just simply involve a process of elimination. Now, the more familiar you become with these 4 rules, the quicker you'll be able to spot the patterns and recognize which rule to apply and when. But before that, before you actually get to that point, it might just simply come down to a process of elimination. Quite obviously, disjunctive syllogism is out, and that there isn't a wedge anywhere in the information that's given to us. So no DS. Likewise, quite obviously, we can't do hypothetical syllogism. To do hypothetical syllogism, we need 2 horseshoe statements, and we've only got 1. So we're now down to either modus ponens or modus tollens, both of which do in fact involve a horseshoe statement. And obviously, line number 1 here, the main operator, is in fact a horseshoe. So do we have an antecedent, or do we have the negation of the consequent? And that will be the determining factor. Do we do MP, do we do MT? So since there isn't a G by itself, the antecedent to line number 1, modus ponens likewise is also out, which leaves us only with modus tollens. So I'll just go ahead and pencil that into the second blank of problem number 1. We know we're going to have to do modus tollens. That's the only rule that fits. The first part of the second blank involves the line numbers that we're using. In this case, we're using the only 2 that are given to us, lines 1 and 2, and the rule again is modus tollens. And this is what's called the justification. The justification again consists of the line numbers you're using, in this case lines 1 and 2, as well as the rule that you're using. In this case, we're using modus tollens, for short, just simply MT. The justification is important, really, because it serves as nothing more than some breadcrumbs here. So I can retrace your steps, see exactly what move you made and when, and this is precisely how I'll grade your test. I'll take a look at your justification, make sure that you're applying the rule correctly. The first blank then is the conclusion that we derive by using lines 1 and 2 and the rule of modus tollens. So we've got our horseshoe statement, line 1. We've got the negation of the consequent is F. We've got not F here in line 2. So check, and modus tollens allows us to get out for a new line, the negation of the antecedent. The antecedent here is G, so what we're allowed to get out is the negation of that. In other words, we just add a tilde, not G. So that's problem number 1. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here, all the way to problem 14. And in problem 14, you'll notice that we're not just simply given 2 lines, 2 bits of information, but in 14 it's a little bit more complex. We're given 4 premises to work with. And again, we're assuming that all premises are true. So given that assumption, our first task really involves the second blank here. We want to figure out which of our 4 rules that we can apply using some combination of these 4 lines. So again, in the early going, this might involve just simply a process of elimination. Take some time to think your way through it. Obviously here, just glancing at the information that's given to us, HS is out. We've got one horseshoe, but not two horseshoes to work with. And likewise, we can pick our way through the other rules until we get down to the rule that we're going to use. In this case, the rule that we need to use is disjunctive syllogism using 2 and 4. So that'll be your second leg. We're using lines 2 and 4, and the rule is DS, disjunctive syllogism. In line 4, we've got a wedge statement. That's one of the necessary conditions for pulling off DS. Wedge is the main operator. And in line 2, we've got the negation of the first disjunct. And again, don't let the tildes confuse you here. Our first disjunct is not S, so the negation of that would be not S, which is precisely what we have in line 2. Again, the negation of the first disjunct. And so what DS allows us to do is get that second the second disjunct, that second disjunct all by itself. Not the negation of this second disjunct, but just simply the second disjunct. In this case, N. So 2 and 4 DS, that's our justification, the line numbers used as well as the rule. And then the conclusion that we can derive, line number 5 is the second disjunct, in this case N. So in this particular problem, we had some useless information as it turns out. We were given line number 1 as well as line number 3, but we just simply didn't need to use them. In this particular case anyway, just simply extra information.